Hello and welcome to your supply and paint mixing demonstration. So you have the bigger brush from the first set of supplies. This is more for your final painting. So put this into a Ziploc bag. Then what I would do is pull out your brush set out of the bag that had all the charcoal stuff in, and I would put all of my charcoal stuff into that smaller Ziploc bag, and then you're going to use this Ziploc bag. So it should just really be like the pencil and an eraser, all of your charcoal supplies. Some of those I'm going to actually need back, so don't get rid of anything yet. Okay. Set these off to the side. So now you have a Ziploc bag that you can store your paint palette in. You will need, I just have like an old handout. Any piece of like regular paper is fine, not newspaper, not paper towels. You want cheap kind of paper that's non-absorbent. I'm just using like an old handout. So one of our old handouts is fine. Even if it has Sharpie on it, it's fine. So set this Ziploc bag off to the side. We'll use that in a minute. Then you have the Ziploc bag of your paint stuff. So these containers are for your final painting, so you can pre-mix the basic colors or the major colors. The only thing we need out of here are these sticks. Okay, put these off to the side. Don't lose them, otherwise you're responsible for your own containers. All right, then you can see that we have a yellow, we call it a cool red, and a warm red, or like orangey, black, dark blue, light blue, and white. So you have all the primary colors. And when you're not using them, they need to have the lid on them. And I would keep them in the Ziploc bag because that will keep them wet until the end of your painting. So I'm just gonna pull all of mine out. So we're gonna do some paint mixing and some reminders. Keep this Ziploc bag. I would use it to store your paint in. And if you have young siblings in your household, cousins, etc., you're gonna definitely wanna put stuff where they can't see it or reach it because this paint does not come out of carpeting, clothing, fabric, etc. The rubber band, if you can keep it, I would appreciate it. I mean, it's just easier to return. So I'm just gonna put the rubber band in with my charcoal supplies for later. So you have 4 brushes. You have like a bigger brush, medium, small, tiny, the bigger one for the final painting. This I'm actually going to put in the charcoal Ziploc bag as well because I don't need it yet, but I don't want to lose it because you're financially responsible for it. You have your paint palette that will be this clean when you turn it back in, or cleaner than this one. So you will be responsible for cleaning it all off before you return it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take paint out of your containers and put it into your palette. And so that's what the sticks are for, so that you don't have to contaminate these colors as you're putting them into your palette. And then later on, you'll scoop some of this paint out into these containers and you'll mix up your colors for your major, you'll mix up your major colors for your final painting. Okay, so thinking ahead, we're going to actually divide this canvas paper into 4, and we're going to paint this sphere 4 times with the 4 different techniques. And so the Van Gogh is the first one we're going to do. That's the next video. So I'm going to come up with a color scheme, and I'm going to mix those colors in my paint palette. I think I'm going to do analogous of yellows, greens, and blues. So I can use, we're going to be mixing a lot of our own colors. So because I'm using yellow, green, and blue, I'm going to do a decent amount of this color. So like 2 scoops. You want to keep it fairly flat, and then I would wipe it off on the side. Oh, also, you're going to I always keep 1 paper towel just in case, and then 1 paper towel to clean off the sticks, because you only have so many sticks. And I just kind of pulled it through, fold it over, so it's not getting paint everywhere. then I can use that stick, or I can keep a stick per color. Or if you have like plastic knives that your parents don't care, that's what I would use at home. So I don't really have these sticks at home. Ooh, that's thick. Okay, some of the dark blue. I'm gonna try to keep it in that little circle part. And then I put the lid on it, set it aside, and then when I'm done, I would put it back into the Ziploc bag today. Okay. Just gonna go on the other end of this. Wipe. So then I'm gonna put this stick aside. This is what I'm gonna use for my blues. And it shouldn't stick to anything because you have paint. You wiped the paint off. Okay, warm red, which is like a reddish orange, red orange. And I'm not gonna need very much of that. So I'm just gonna do one because of the colors I'm using. Now, if you're choosing warm colors, or you wanna use reds and purples, or red is in your color scheme that you're picking, then maybe you want a little bit more. I'm just gonna use one stick full, kind of wipe it off. Oh, I also have 2 sheets of newspaper on my surface, so 2 full sheets covering my whole area in case my water spills, etc. I'm gonna use the same stick for my other red. Notice I'm already getting paint on myself. Oh, the paint. Okay, again, I'm just gonna do one blob because I can always get more. But we don't want it to dry out and not be able to use any of it because this is all the paint you're gonna get for your practices and your final draft, which I definitely think it's more than you need if you are conservative. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this stick for my reds. Then I have a stick for my yellow, different stick. I am including yellow in my color scheme, so what am I gonna do? 3 blobs or so. Wipe off my stick. Wipe it off on the container. Wipe it off on the paper towel. Okay, this will be my yellowish stir stick later on, because you'll use these sticks to mix your colors up for your final painting as well. All right, black, you need very, very little. It's actually probably a lot of black, but just in case some of you guys are doing dark paintings. So I'm just gonna do 1 blob of black. We don't use black very much. It tends to like dull down your colors. It's not very good looking. Wipe off my stick. And I would use that to stir dark colors later on. And I have 1 stick left for my white. Okay. And I left some blank because I'm going to mix up some of my own colors. Okay. Then I'm going to wipe off my white. So this you can throw away because I would just have another one handy or just have it next to you just in case. All right. So with one of these sticks, actually I'm going to use one of my blue ones because I'm going to mix up like a bluishy green. So whenever you're mixing colors, you want to start with the lightest color first. And so I'm going to do a light blue green. So I'm going to take a little bit of white. Blue, a little bit of yellow, stir, 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 stir. I'm going to take a little bit of this dark blue. And I'm going to make that, I'm making this like the sphere color. Okay, so then I'm gonna use this paper towel, wipe this off. This will be my mixing stick for everything. Then if I wanted to make a tint, so I'm definitely going to need a lighter version of my colors. So a tint is when you add white. So you always start with the lightest color. So therefore I'm going to start with white and a little tiny bit of blue, like a little tiny bit. So I want a tint that goes with my color scheme. And now I'm going to make a shade. I'm actually going to mix these two blues together. So a scoop of that blue. I'll wipe off my stick actually. A scoop of this blue. And then I want to add a little bit of the color's complement to create the shade. So blue's complement is orange. So I could add a little bit of this reddish orange. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Oh, that's a little bit too much. Like a tiny bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to that as well. And I should get like a dark version that's different from that blue. And you guys cannot see that, but it's like a dark greenish blue. This camera does not pick up color very well. I apologize. Should have picked a different color than blue. All right, so I'm going to keep this stick. This is going to be my stir stick. Okay, now this paper towel is pretty much done. So I'm going to keep this stick. You're going to use it the whole time. All right, so when you're storing this, when you're not using it, what you would do is I take this random piece of paper, or if you have the white paper, not drawing paper, but just the regular white copy paper, the cheap thin paper. You're going to wrap it over your palette, like so. I'm like kind of folding the corners. Then I'm going to use my Ziploc bag. So the paper, so the inside of your Ziploc bag doesn't get disgusting. Obviously, you're not getting another one. Okay. Then you want to get the air out. So I kind of squish it down. And squeegee the air out. So that will keep your paint wet at least a week. And then probably right before you start your actual final draft painting, then we'll clean your palette and get new paint in there and mix your own colors and you'll be good to go. So that's how you're going to store that. Okay, let me set that off to the side. Okay, now, if you haven't set up newspaper already, I would definitely set up newspaper. This image is what we're going to look at, so you're going to have that image setting out. Put that up there. This is the canvas paper. It is thicker. It has a texture on it. It also has a red slash on the back. This is the back side. Don't paint on that side. It is 8 by 10, so I think it's the smallest white paper that you have in your whole sets. And so I would measure it. It's 10-ish by 8-ish. So 8 by 10, and it definitely has a texture. It kind of feels like canvas. So this is canvas paper. It's covered with a white coating on the front called gesso, and it helps it not wrinkle. So do not paint on the side that has a slash. This is the back side. It will wrinkle like crazy. It will curl up because this side doesn't have the gesso that seals the fabric. So canvas is like fabric, and the gesso keeps it from wrinkling. All right, so you're actually going to need your ruler, old school wooden pencil, and you're going to need a coffee cup, just standard size coffee cup. So I'm going to put it vertically in front of me, and I'm going to divide it in half. So it's about 8 inches, so I'm going to go 4 and put a little dash line at the bottom. And remember, the 0 is that first little line on this ruler. And I'm going to do that at the top. And then I'm going to line those little dash lines up. Okay, Then I'm going to turn my canvas paper horizontally, and I'm going to divide that in half, which is 5 inches. So I'm at the 0 mark, 5 inches. I'll do that again lower. 5 inches. Okay, divide in half. So each one of these is going to be a different technique. Oh, I wonder if that's going to be too big. That is going to be too big. You know what? We could use one of these to trace. Let's go a little smaller because I want you guys to be able to paint background too. Hold on, let's see what size this is going to be. I think I made these bigger last year. In my head, I was thinking it should be bigger. All right, one of these little cups. Oh yeah, that's way better. Okay, we'll use one of those little cups. In the middle-ish, you want room for the cast shadow. So I'm actually going to scoot it a little bit. This is a little bit to the left, so I have more space over here. And I'm going to do that for all 4. We're going to mass produce. That way it's set up for all of them. Okay, put this cup back into your little baggie. I think you have 5 little containers for mixing your own colors later on. 5 major colors should be definitely enough for most of you. And if you have like 6 or 7, then you can find your own containers. Okay, now I'm gonna do the horizon line. So it looks to be slightly below center. So I'm gonna come down a little bit. I'm just gonna, oops, sorry, you guys can't see that. Center, slightly below. Just gonna mass produce on this side. Okay, up top. This looks like it's center. Okay, a little bit below. Okay, and then the only other thing we need to draw is the cast shadow. Everything else is going to happen in the painting part. So I'm going to put in the cast shadow on the surface. Cast shadow for all of them. So when it's all said and done and you're done with all 4 techniques, this should look like a painting. It is a painting. It's worth 80 points. It's part of a project. Okay, that's all you need to do to start out with. The next video is going to be Van Gogh style, and I'm going to do the upper left-hand corner. So you can put, I wonder if you guys can see that. Okay, so you can put all this stuff into the Ziploc bag. I would put the sticks into the Ziploc bag so you have them, the other one, and then you'll get out your paint palette. And if you didn't mix colors, you'll pre-mix those colors before you start. I would pick a color scheme. I did put the color Google slideshow in with this document as well, and I also put an image of this in case you lost this. And if you have the paper version, just have it setting out. All right, I will see you in the next video.